Are you looking for book recommendations? In this video, I'm going to give you 5 of some of my favorite books for your body, mind, and soul. Stay tuned. So the first book that I have for you is The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity by Julia Cameron. This book is one that I bought a long time ago. Let me scroll up and see. I bought this book in 2010. So it's been a minute since I've read this book. Now, I don't recall exactly the rest of the book, but the thing that stuck with me all these years was the morning pages. You've probably heard about these before, either through me or because they're something that has become like a core exercise of this book. And this book has been, kind of popular with people that are on a spiritual path, people that are creativity minded and want to explore journaling. It's really good for people that love journaling. And since I'm such a big advocate of journaling, that is why I really like the morning pages. So what the morning pages are is you wake up and you don't do anything right away except for you write these pages. Like literally, that's the first thing you do when you wake up. And the point is to get your mind while it's still in the alpha state, because the stream of consciousness that comes out of that alpha state is really good for you to express and to become aware of. So what you do is you write 3 full pages of like your stream of consciousness thoughts. Now, this is not meant to be, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's not meant to be a creative process as much as like you're not creating art. You're not going to be thinking about, grammar or if your sentences are flowing, clearly. It's really just a way for you to access your higher self through the alpha state that your brain is in, and that's when there's no what's the word I'm trying to say? There's no resistance that comes from your mind, your beta mind, which is constant thoughts and judgment. So what you have after all that is taken away is just pure thoughts. And obviously, you're going to work your way into the beta state while you write, because a lot of the things that you end up writing are, thoughts like, this is stupid, I wish I didn't have to do this, I can't wait to get started on doing this today. But as you work through those thoughts, other thoughts will come through, because that's the whole point of why journaling is amazing, because you're getting out those types of thoughts and you're making way for the better ones. So I could probably talk about this book for a while, because I'm really a huge advocate of journaling and expressing your thoughts. So if you are on a spiritual path, which we probably are since you're watching this video on this channel, or if you are into creative things, trying to open up your mind creatively, and if you are into journaling, get that book. The next book that I have for you is Transcending the Levels of Consciousness, The Stairway to Enlightenment by David Hawkins. You probably heard of this guy, and if you haven't, I guess this is somebody that people talk about in, the spiritual circles. Anybody that's into consciousness has probably heard of him. I read this book also in 2010, so a long time ago, and I have heard this book mentioned so many times since then, and this is why I keep this book. Now, usually when you read a book, you've read it, you understand it, and you don't need to read it again. But this is a kind of book that I want to keep around, and I'm going to keep it forever, because this is such a this book is like a foundational book on the level of, consciousness and enlightenment. So if you are into either of those things, this is a must buy. So since it's been a long time since I've looked at this book, I'm gonna just go through the preview here to show you what's all in here. So it talks about letting go. He actually has another book about letting go. Actually, this might even be his other books. Let me go to the actual chapters. So the evolution of consciousness, and then he goes through each of the stages. And then he's got this thing called the calibration levels, where he will give the level of calibration of how high it is on the list of enlightenment. I'm probably explaining it horribly, but you've probably seen this in other videos. If you watch a lot of other videos that are like this, there's a lot of people that talk about his enlightenment levels. So they're kind of like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I talk about. Only, I mean, they're the same in the fact that it's a triangle shape. It's like it goes up. But at the bottom, you have things like guilt, despair, hate, apathy, grief, fear, anger, and then you work your way up. And then it gets to a point where it's neutral in the center. And then once you're in neutrality, then you go to acceptance, and then you work your way up to love, spiritual limitations and distractions, transcending the mind. So it kind of goes up like that. And that's why I will always keep this book around. So that's another good one to get if you are interested in consciousness and enlightenment. The next book on my list is Blue Zones: Lessons for Living Longer from the People Who've Lived the Longest by Dan Buettner. So this book is really popular. You probably heard of this one too, especially if you are into holistic health, trying to keep the body healthy. What they did was they went around the world and found the people that were the healthiest and figured out why they were the healthiest. So honestly, I can't even remember if I've finished this book or not. I know I started reading it, but it's really big. It's a nice big read. Let's see if I can find the pages. There's a lot of pages, but I don't see here where it says how many pages there are. But it's one of those books that you kind of want to collect because this information will never get old because this is one of the things about health that's just crazy. There are so many fads, there are so many new trendy diets that come out, and that's not how you should go about it. True health comes from, like I talk about, the fundamentals, which are, sunlight, nature, water, sleep, the proper nourishment, and, reducing stress. And so it's very simple. It doesn't need to be complicated at all. And I think that might be why I never finished reading this book because I know that this stuff is everywhere. This information is talked about by a lot of holistic doctors and a lot of people that are into living naturally. So I kind of knew what would be in it, but it's just a good book to have around if you want, for reference. Or if you're new to living holistically, this is a great book to get when it comes to the body, when it comes to having your body healthy. So the next book on my list here is The Elements of Pantheism: A Spirituality of Nature and the Universe. So I remember being so excited when I ordered this book, and this is another one that I've had for like 10 years or more. Pantheism is basically, I don't want to say religion because religion is a word that is more towards like having a leader that's got a set of rules and here I tell you how to live your life. This is not like that at all. Pantheism is more like just being natural, the natural state of, not even a state, it's just the naturalness of being alive in the universe and being in nature and finding a spiritual aspect of that. So this is a short book, and well, actually, it says 114 pages, but I remember reading it in one day. I guess I was that excited to get it, but it's because, it's exactly the stuff that I have been drawn to: nature, the universe, and spiritual things. And so this kind of ties all those together. It talks about the history of pantheism, the core beliefs, sacred nature, meditation, mysticism, soul, bodies, and death. Yeah, it's just what is pantheism and is it for you? So I'm just going to read this first part here. Do you feel a deep sense of peace and belonging and wonder in the midst of nature, in a forest, by the ocean, or on a mountaintop? Are you speechless with awe when you look up at the sky on a clear moonless night and see the Milky Way strewn with stars as thick as sand on a beach? I could go on. Well, here the word pantheism comes from all and God. So literally, pantheism means all is God. In essence, pantheism holds that the universe as a whole is worthy of the deepest reverence, and that only the universe and nature are worthy of that degree of reverence. Nature is my God. That's the simplest way of summing up the core pantheist beliefs. And when I discovered this book and read it, that right there is was a pivotal moment in my life when I really started to focus more on nature, and I really started to realize, I became aware that I was not spending enough time in nature, and I needed to, like they say, reverence. You need to have reverence for nature. And the only way to do that is to be in nature and to get enough nature in your life. And this is probably the book that started my um, obsession with living in alignment with nature. And I didn't hear a lot of people talking about this. And the more I learn about holistic health, trying to get your body and your mind to be healthy and your soul, all of them together, the best way to do that is through the path of nature. And and that's why spirituality ties all that in together so nicely, because when it comes to holistic health, most people just think of the body and the mind. They don't, the spiritual aspect is usually neglected. And I think by spending a lot of time in nature and having reverence for it and living in alignment with it, that is how you can build your spiritual side. So I could talk for hours about this one too. I'm just going to move on to the next one now. And this is the last one in this video, and this is 344 questions. The creative person's do-it-yourself guide to insight, survival, and artistic fulfillment. So this book you might be wondering why I'm putting this in there, because like I said earlier in this video, journaling is crucial for your expression, for mental health, for accessing your higher self, for transforming your life. And this book here is a perfect example of the type of book that you should get if you don't really know where to start. If you want to journal, but you don't really know where to start, and it doesn't even say that this is a journal, but I'll show you some examples here what this looks like on the inside. It's really just journal prompts is what these are. It's 304 journal prompts. And this was such a fun book to do as well because you can write right in the book. So here's where it starts. How would you describe your life in one sentence? Things like that. And then, you know, just journal prompts are amazing. Like, are you doing what you love? That's such an important question for people because people don't think about that unless somebody else asks them or unless they see it somewhere. And I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about getting people to think and become aware of how they're living their life. And this is a great book for that reason because it's 344 questions. That's going to take you a long time to get through. In fact, I still have this book and I have not finished it because that's a lot of questions. And I mean, if I really wanted to, I could probably finish it quickly, but you know, it's one of those things that you kind of want to savor it. Like I want to come back and enjoy this with new fresh eyes again in the future. So I might wait a while and then go back and answer some more questions. So this book and The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron are the two in this video that I'm recommending for journaling purposes if you are trying to get to know yourself and transform your life. And so, yep, that's the 5 books for this video. And I will leave links down below so that you can get these on Amazon. Now, these are affiliate links, but that I'm just required by law to say that, although it's not a bad thing at all. Everybody makes it sound like, oh, it's so bad if you're affiliated with somebody. It's not. What it really is I am passionate enough about these things that I want to share them with people. And Amazon just gives me a small, very small portion of the money if you buy these. So that's all that means. So if you ever hear anybody say these are affiliate links, it's not that they're being forced to share them to get paid. It's not like that. It's at least for the more honorable people that are really just trying to be authentic about it. I really want to share these books with you. And all of the books that I'm going to be sharing in these upcoming videos, I'm going to make this a series. These are all going to be books that I think everybody should own, or at least, for the certain aspect of what each book means, like this one here. If you want to learn about yourself, if you want to get to know your higher self, journaling, things that really have a lot to do with the stuff that I talk about and things that can help you in your life and to transform your body, mind, and soul, I'm going to share them. So, that being said, check the links out below if you're interested in any of these books, and thank you so much for watching.